Hello and welcome to the buttons exercise. This is an exercise that sort of starts to fulfill, I guess, the portion of this class that's called 2D animation and interactivity. At any point, or at no point thus far, have we been able to sort of ask the viewer to make a choice. If you've read over Project 3, you probably sort of understood that in this project there was a point in which someone's going to click on something and make a choice. What I'm going to go over in this video is what's called ActionScript. ActionScript is the language that Animate uses. If we think about something like a web page uses HTML. That sort of tells the page what to do. It tells the browser what to do. Go get this image, put this text here, make this text this big. What we're going to do is sort of tell this Flash or this Swift file, the Flash file, to ask the viewer to make a choice. I've set up a simple file here, and I'm going to go over that in a second, that's going to illustrate if our actions are working. We're basically going to insert two buttons. Up to this point we've dealt with graphics, we've dealt with movie clips. We're going to insert a button, which is the third type of symbol we can put over in the library here. And we're going to animate and sort of go to these different scenes to sort of prove that this is working. So without further ado, let's head in. I do have a step-by-step for this, as usual. I've skipped up to step 9. Steps 1 through 8 basically create 3 scenes. You'll see, and I'm sort of flopping through the scenes here. We have what's called the home scene. Nothing's on this right now. We have the red ball scene, and it's a simple animation, and I have the red ball and a green ball over here. And I have the green ball scene. Okay, these are, as the sort of step after step 8 says, these two scenes will serve as evidence that our buttons from home are working correctly. Okay, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to create buttons from this home scene that go to the red ball scene and go to the green ball scene. We're going to learn some basic action scripting along the way and sort of talk about how it works. If you haven't, you should be taking advantage of Insert Scene, and then you can sort of get to those scenes over here. Again, home, green ball, and red ball. So let's head into this. I'm going to go to step 9. It says go to the home scene. The home scene shouldn't have anything on it. It's just this gray sort of canvas. And it says go to Window Actions. So I'm going to go to Window Actions. And it says in the Actions window, type, and we need to type it exactly as this. There's no quotes on it. The stop action. This is going to add a small A in the layer of your first frame. Now, before we do this, let's sort of talk about it. Up to this point, again, your Flash movies, I always say they want to go, go, go. And by that, I mean they just start, and then when they're done, they go right back to the beginning. We want to stop this. We want to finally stop the movie. And the reason we're putting a stop on this first keyframe, basically, of our home scene is that when we come into the movie, we want it to stop. We don't want it to play that red ball scene. We don't want to play that green ball scene. We want to sort of give the viewer a chance to make that choice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in stop, and I'm going to type it in just like this. You'll see the sort of changing of the color. This blue, you'll see that up to this point, you'll see that that is red. That's sort of indicating that we don't have a correct action script. When I type in the other parentheses, we'll see that we have a correct script there. Okay, so this stops the scene. Okay. Now it says rename the first layer stop action. Okay, so I'm just going to go here and I'm going to name this stop action. You'll see this tiny little A. It's probably hard to see on the video, but you can see it on your file. That indicates that there is a script there. Okay, and that's our stop. Next it says choose insert new symbol and name this symbol go to green ball button. Okay, this should help set it apart from the red ball graphic. So I'm going to insert a new symbol, and I'm going to call it go to green ball button. And then step 15, it says choose button from the drop down menu. Remember, we've used movie clips. That's kind of our jumping jack. We've used graphics. Those are sort of simple things we draw. And we haven't used button. So we're going to choose button because that's going to allow for this interactivity. Now we're going to flop over into making the button. You'll see that just like when we insert a graphic, we get this whole other area. Now, this looks considerably different. We have the up, over, down, and hit state. I'm going to talk about that here in a second. Step 16, it says choose the text tool and draw a text box. Type go to green ball in a dark green shade. So I'm going to go to, and I'm going to pull this out. Okay. I'm going to center this right here. You'll notice that when I type something in here, we get a keyframe in the up state. Now let's sort of talk about these states over here. Up is sort of basically what happens to the button when it's just sort of sitting there. Over it has to do with the over state, meaning when we hover over it. Down has to do with what happens when we click down on it. And hit is sort of a abstract idea, but it's sort of the area in which all of this other stuff is active. Okay, so it says, and I'm sort of looking at my step-by-step here. Step 18, insert keyframes in each of the over, down, and hit stages. Okay, so I'm going to insert keyframe, I'm going to insert a keyframe, and I'm going to insert a keyframe. Okay, what this does is it sort of pulls this over so we have the go to green button in all the states. That's what we want. It says highlight the text on the over state keyframe and change it to a light green. We want to sort of indicate when someone's hovering over it that it's going to do something. Okay, so I'm going to change this to a slightly different color. Okay, so you'll see, oops. Highlight this and change it to a light green. Okay, there we go. So that's going to be our over state. Okay. Now it says repeat steps 13 through 19, but this time have it be go to green ball. So I'm going to go to insert new symbol, go to, sorry, red ball. We're going to make that a button. I'm going to type go to red ball. Yep. And I'm going to make sure that that's in a red color. And I'm going to sort of insert keyframe, and just like I did on the other one, I'm going to change this color to a lighter shade. So I'm going to highlight it and choose kind of a pink. All right, so we have two of these buttons set up, and now we need to sort of put them into the movie. So I'm going to look over at my step-by-step. On step 21, it says on the home scene, insert two layers. Name one red ball button and the other one green ball button. This is sort of keeping things organized, and this will make sense once we start messing with this. So I'm gonna, whoops, gotta go to, so this one should be called red ball button and green ball button. Next it says drag the green ball button onto the stage in the first frame of the green ball button layer. Do the same for the red ball. So I want to stay organized, so I'm going to click on the red ball button here. And I just want to position this. And I'm going to go to my green ball button, layer, and I'm going to type that. Okay. So we want to keep these separate because it's just going to make the action script a little easier. Next. It says with the black selection tool, click on the green ball on the stage. So this is quite important, this sort of step-by-step. I'm going to click on this, and then it says go to window code snippets. So I'm going to go to window code snippets. Now code snippets are basically kind of what I'll call prepackaged bits of code that allow us to kind of put in more complicated scripting without having to sort of write this thing out. Okay, now we need to find what's called timeline navigation. All these are sort of little windows, and inside that is going to be a set of choices. Okay, it says double click, and I'm on step 26. Double click on the one called click to go to scene and play. Okay, so we want to, it's the last one, click to go to scene and play. So in plain English, hopefully that makes sense. When we click on this, we're going to go to a particular scene and we're going to play that scene. So I'm going to double click on this. It says the selected symbol requires an instance name. Flash, it's still using Flash. Flash will create an instance name before applying that code sample. That's fine. We're going to click OK. I have that in step 26. And you get all this gobbledygook. Okay, now let's take a look at this and sort of think about it. Up here is this is called what's called comments, and you'll see this by the backslashes. This is not code. This is sort of saying clicking on the specified symbol instance plays the movie from a specified scene in frame. It's sort of explaining what happens. And then it says instructions, and we're going to do exactly this. Replace scene 3 with the name of the scene you would like to play, and replace the number with the frame you would like the movie to play from in the specified scene. So what all this is sort of the code that's going to make this happen. It's name this button 1. We have this event listener, which basically is the mouse click. It's like listening for an event, and it's going to go to the scene. We don't need necessarily to know what all this is. This go to and play is basically the code that allows us to go to, and this is where the scene is, and this is where the frame number is. Now, it's quite important that you type in exactly what you named that scene. So I'm bringing this up here, and you'll see that I typed in red ball and green ball. I capitalized both of those sort of the beginning of each word, and I need to sort of mimic that when I type this in here. Now, if I remember correctly, and I gotta look here, we clicked on the green ball. Okay, I gotta remember. So I'm gonna highlight this scene 3. We don't have a scene 3. We have a green ball scene. Okay, so I'm gonna close this stuff out. Okay. I'm just going to go back to the step-by-step. We did what the step-by-step set up to step 28. It says replace what is between the quotes with the green ball. This has to be exactly what your scene is called. Now, before I go on to step 29, which is go through this again for red ball, I'm going to take a look at this and sort of see that it's correct. So I'm going to test this movie. So when we come into animate, first and foremost, we should feel or sort of see the stop. Okay, we're not going to those scenes right now. We know those scenes exist, but we want to make sure that this works. So I'm going to sort of hover over this green ball, and you'll see the sort of change that happens. And I'm going to click on this, and voila, I go to that scene. Now, you'll notice that we go directly back to this. That should make sense in terms of how you understand Flash, because it's basically getting to the end of the movie and then coming back to the beginning. We're going to sort of fix what will happen once we go to the red ball scene here. This doesn't go anywhere yet. But at this point, we should see this. Now, I'm going to quickly stop the video here. I'm running up against my 15 minutes, and we'll finish up the exercise in a second video here. So hold on tight.